With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and yesterday was the 2018 Women's March. Now, if you remember, this whole thing started last year, the day after the inauguration of the 45th President of the United States, Donald John Trump. Now, you can like the guy or hate the guy or be indifferent to the guy. It doesn't really matter because he's not part of this particular story. But the Women's March that happened last year was a very big thing. Happened in multiple states, multiple countries. There was even like a 13-person protest in Antarctica. But one of the big, I guess you could say, contenders of that event was an impassioned speech by Scarlett Johansson. And this year, she got up there once again to give a rousing speech about the Time's Up and Me Too movement and how she won't pander to anyone's feelings anymore. She won't take anyone's feelings into consideration when she's feeling like she's been taken advantage of or she feels something. I find that to be relatively funny because this whole thing is all around really James Franco. Now, it says here that she called out James Franco at the Women's March. This speech right here where Mila Kunis, I love this, Mila Kunis is literally holding the mic for her, one privileged white woman to another. So that's funny. But in the speech itself, over here on LA Times, she says, "How could a person publicly stand by an organization that helps to provide support for victims of sexual assault while privately preying on people who have no power?" And then she says, "I want my pin back, by the way." Now, what she's referring to here ultimately is James Franco and the accusations levied against him. Franco has come out and said that these are all false, that Twitter is not the place for this conversation. And even we've seen the tweet from Ali Sheedy where she accused James Franco of impropriety has been deleted. So Franco is sitting there going like, I don't know what's going on, but he's been missing award shows while he's up for Best Actor or Best Director for The Disaster Artist. And I find it interesting that that the McCarthyism movement is alive and well, because that's all it really is these days, right? That's ultimately what it boils down to. Bill Maher made a comment about this the other night on Real Time where he had used the term McCarthyism. I refer to it as Hollywood McCarthyism, but I think McCarthyism works on its own. And as a result of that, he's basically pointing out that this is becoming a witch hunt, or it's already been a witch hunt. Scarlett Johansson going after James Franco, whether she named him by name or not, she did say through her reps that that was aimed at him. And you have to love that too, that it was confirmed through her representatives that her barbs were kind of aimed right at James Franco. I just find that to be really funny because I honestly think Franco's getting a bit of a bum rap here. The guy has come under fire before for certain things. There was that one incident in New York with the 17-year-old girl who, when he found out she was 17, he backed off and then she kept trying to engage him in the conversation. That went around for a while. And other things have come out as well about, him working with young actresses, or not young, as under the age, but just younger and everything else. And again, we're in this weird place now where regret is now being substituted for assault. And I don't want to, I don't like having to make that claim because I don't think that in every case it is accurate. But I do feel that in a lot of these cases, there's a lot of gaslighting that's happening from people on the left that are gaslighting these people to believe that they've been taken advantage of when ultimately they haven't. But what I find to be very funny here is that Scarlett Johansson is now under fire for calling out James Franco because she was defending Woody Allen. Now, if you haven't been following that whole thing, let's kind of break it down like this. Rowan Farrow, right? Mia Farrow's son, is the one who led the charge on the whole Harvey Weinstein thing. He's the one who investigated for 10 months, put together the expose and released it, thus kicking off the Me Too movement and everything that has followed. But ultimately, and this is, I don't even think he's been truly quiet about this. You could see his entire intent behind this was to take down Woody Allen. That's it. I'm not even kidding you. Like, he has spoken out for years about the alleged abuse that Woody Allen did to his sister Dylan Farrow, and everything else also probably involving Soon Yi. And that's been a big thing. That's been a big topic of conversation for quite some time. And I feel that ultimately this is what he was going for. Now, Scarlett Johansson has worked with Woody Allen, I do believe, on a couple of occasions. So for her to sit there and attack James Franco for wearing a Time's Up pin to the Golden Globes and being part of the movement, all while she's defended Woody Allen, who has faced accusations for decades. It very much shows you how hypocritical some people in the industry are, and everything else. So it says here that Scarlett Johansson, who slammed fellow actor James Franco in a speech at the Women's March in Los Angeles, is being called a hypocrite for previously defending Woody Allen and saying the child abuse allegations against the director are all guesswork. She says, "I want my pin back, by the way." She says in reference to the Time's Up pin Franco wore at the Golden Globes Awards, which inspired 5 accusers to come forward and call him out. However, now Johansson, who starred in Allen's films Match Point, Scoop, and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, finds herself feeling the heat after having praised the director and downplayed accusations of child abuse that have been levied against him. So yeah, right. And again, you see this a lot. There's as much as I love Hollywood, as much as I love the entertainment industry, let's be realistic here. There is a heavy amount of hypocrisy in this scenario. All right, people go to Hollywood and they find themselves taken advantage of in a multitude of ways. It's a bunch of have-nots that are trying to pander to the haves. And I myself have have been in certain or similar situations, not of a sexual nature, but just being completely undervalued, underpaid, and used, all because I'm trying to get ahead. You know, like I was writing jokes for an Iranian comedian for $12 an hour with a maximum of like 10 hours a week. And originally we had agreed at $15 an hour, but then he basically denied ever agreeing to that. And I'd already done the work and I was hard up for cash. So I took the $12 an hour, and then he publicly humiliated me at a comedy show, and then fired me. So I've been in these situations. The dude's a jerk. I'm just never going to work for him again. But, you know, I would be a hypocrite if I were to keep going back and keep going back and keep going back, which is kind of what Scarlett Johansson's done. Now, it says here, 1 month after Allen's estranged daughter, Dylan Farrow, penned an open letter accusing him of sexual abuse in 2014, Johansson told The Guardian, "It's not like this is somebody that's been prosecuted and found guilty of something. And then you can go, I don't support this lifestyle or whatever. I mean, it's all guesswork." And obviously she's referring to the whole Soon Yi situation, of which when they had a relationship, she was over the age of 18. Soon Yi was adopted by Mia Farrow from her previous husband before her and Woody Allen got together. It's a whole mess, but the situation's out there. And there's been many accusations levied at Dylan Farrow that Mia was so mad that Woody Allen left her for her adopted daughter that basically she kind of gaslit Dylan Farrow into believing these things in order to then put those accusations out there against Woody Allen. There have been multiple, I do believe, 2 investigations into Woody Allen that have both turned up nothing. So when Scarlett Johansson says that's all guesswork, and she's not believing the victim here, why is she going after James Franco while Mila Kunis is holding the damn microphone? It is. You got Chrissy Del Rey here saying, Scarlett Johansson called out James Franco, but how many times does she work with Woody Allen? When it's about money and career, the Time's Up movement disappears very quickly, I guess. I think it's irresponsible to take a bunch of actors that will have a Google alert on to suddenly throw their names into a situation that none of us could possibly knowingly comment on. Scarlett Johansson about Woody Allen, yet she's doing the exact same thing with Franco. It's very true. It says here that Allen has denied the allegations from the adopted daughter who claimed he sexually abused her when she was 7 years old. However, Farrow's brother Ronan, who wrote the blockbuster expose on The New Yorker and the allegations against Harvey Weinstein, has supported her. And ultimately, you've got this situation playing out the way that it is. Like I said, I do believe that the entire point behind the Harvey Weinstein expose was to take down Woody Allen. I honestly think that. And if Woody Allen is guilty of the crimes that he's being accused of, then by all means, yeah, take him out. Like that's, there's no excuse for that. But at the same time, it's been decades of these accusations. There's been investigations. There's been nothing that's been found. So what do you do? Right? Woody Allen is basically a particular person in Hollywood that people work with in order to get some indie cred because he's so well regarded, similar to Roman Polanski, who has been convicted of these sort of things, right? Meryl Streep came out and wrote and signed a letter trying to get Roman Polanski allowed back to the United States. Charges dropped against him, but she's up there and she's going off against Harvey Weinstein and supporting the Me Too movement. It's one of those things, and I don't like it always being about like basically being whataboutism, but I do believe it requires that conversation. Is like, Are you, in this particular case, Scarlett Johansson, calling out James Franco for the accusations levied against him when you have knowingly ignored accusations made against Woody Allen and worked with him on 3 occasions? And it wasn't like this is unknown. It wasn't like this is a new revelation. Woody Allen and Soon Yi have been together for coming up on close to 30 freaking years. So people have made jokes about that for nearly 3 decades. It's not an unknown thing in Hollywood, right? So it really does kind of beg the question, is Scarlett Johansson full of shit? And based upon, you know, the impassioned speech she gave in this year and last year, I'm gonna go and say, yeah, pretty much. I think she is. This whole movement is just a way to wrestle power away from some other people and give it to yourself. It's a power play in Hollywood that's actually working out quite well. And ultimately, it's going to have extremely negative results as time goes on. And so, because this is now a witch hunt, this isn't about trying to solve the problem. As Dave Chappelle said this in the Bird Redemption, he said it great. He's like, in order for this movement to work, you have to have male allies. Ben Affleck came out, spoke out for it, was you know, very much on board with it. And then someone found a picture of him grabbing a titty, and he's like, okay, I'm out. You know, like when there's no forgiveness or there's no attempt at trying to you know, work past something, we find ourselves where we find ourselves. And so, yeah, I do think Scarlett Johansson is a pretty big hypocrite, and I have no problem calling her out for it. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I really want to know what you guys think. Go ahead and write the comments down below. If you guys haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is through Patreon. YouTube is straight up killing everyone right now. Or links below in the video description. Or if you just want to watch more content from me, which would be pretty awesome, you can do so right now.